Hi, this is Simon Upstell and welcome to another tutorial for Apple Motion, and today we're going to be taking a look at this mechanical vortex effect. So this is all pretty snazzy, let's take a look at how it's done. Okay, for this project we're going with 1920 1080, 24 frames a second, duration of 15 seconds. First thing I want to do is to come to Add Object Generators and we're going to look for clouds. So I want a width of 25 and for the height we'll go with 810 and let's set the speed all the way up to 2. Then let's add filters, stylize and pixelate. So we want a scale of 50 and an X position of 25. So that's going to give us this sort of effect. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some circles. So first of all, I'm going to grab the circle tool here, holding down the Shift and Option key, drag out a circle roughly like that. Geometry, let's make it, I don't know, yeah, 20 is probably good. Okay, so let's come over to Properties, zero out the X, set that Y to 405. Let's right click and clone it. Let's set that position to negative 405. Let's right click and duplicate the clone. Let's set its position to be 0 and let's open up the Y and we'll add an oscillate behavior to this, oscillate amplitude of something like 240 and we'll go with a speed of 20 for that. So that's going to shoot up and down like that. It's going to be pretty interesting when the whole thing is put together. So just one more thing, let's come back to our circle. We've got this kind of grey, mid-grey for it, and that's fine. I'm just going to turn on the outline as well, so we've got a nice bright outline of that. Width of 2 is good, colour of white. So now we're all set up with our basic element, and I'm going to close that group up, and I'm going to make a clone of it. So right-click, make clone layer, and we can turn off that original group. So what we're going to do with the clone is we're going to make a replicator. So object replicate. We're going to choose circle for the shape, outline for the arrangement. We're going to have a radius of 860. We're going to have 72 points. We're going to turn on align angle. We are going to come down here to the source frame offset and set that value to 1. And then we're going to come over to properties, rotation, and let's have an X rotation of negative 60. So now we're looking like this. So that's quite nice. Let's just, while we're here, add an oscillate behavior to this Y rotation. So right click, add parameter behavior, oscillate. We want an amplitude of 30 and let's go with 6 for the speed. And this is just going to sort of rock it backwards and forwards, going to give us a little bit more interest. You can see how that circle that we made oscillate up and down in our base element is giving us this nice sort of spiraling effect like that. So then it's probably time to add to this group filters and stylize and extrude. Let's set the angle to 270 and the distance to 360. So this is looking more interesting. So we want to eventually set the render to best, and you'll notice that tidies up that sort of grunginess in the middle. Just going to leave it at normal just while I work, however. So what I want to do is I want to reduce this front brightness down to around 0.1, but the back brightness, let's crank actually all the way up to 2. So that's giving us this effect of a kind of a hotter core. So what we're also going to do is come back to our replicator. We're going to add replicator sequence replicator. We're going to choose add parameter behavior position. We're going to have a Y position of 360. We're going to set the sequencing to through. We're going to set the spread to 6. And we'll have 3 loops. And the important thing is we need to set this end condition to wrap. So that's sort of rippling around like that. So that's pretty good. Let's come back to this group here, the master group. Let's add filters and stylize and indent. Just give us a little bit of sort of modeling on those shapes there. And then let's come to color and threshold. And let's just reduce this threshold down a little bit. Let's increase the smoothness a little bit. Give you some numbers here, 0.25 for the threshold and 0.5 for the smoothness maybe. And here what we'll do is just add a little bit of color in. So let's add in this possibly to the blacks, and for the whites, let's also do something like that. Oops, too much. Just need to be fairly subtle with it. And we can adjust this threshold to taste if we want it more crunchy, maybe actually go up a little bit on the threshold. Let's go for 0.35 or something. And then all that remains to do is to add a nice glow to this. I'm going to use Hawaii Super Glow like that, and probably just reduce the number of glows down to 5, and maybe come down and just give it a little bit of tweak to the color here, something like that. What else can we do? We do need to add in a background, so come over to the library and look for color solid. Just drop that in behind there. Come to the inspector, let's make this black. And then let's come over to add object generators and let's look for lens flare. And we want size to be pretty big. Let's go with 2000 for the size, intensity all the way up, no streak intensity. Maybe just bring this Y position down a bit so it's more centered up. Let's turn on the overlays to see where that is. Overlays, adjust item. That's pretty good position for it there. Sort of negative 130 on Y. Oh yes, I want to now add to it a circle mask. So I'm going to actually make this elliptical like that, roughly speaking. And then let's just feather that. Let's maybe go with 150 for the feather. And that really is it. Pretty simple, but it's quite a nice effect, I think. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.